So I'm just gonna keep taking a video every time I do something new. I didn't even take a video of what I did earlier, but I painted the grill on my truck. Super simple. I just didn't like that it was chrome, so I did that. But I realized that I'm doing another cool thing. I am actually soldering some LED strips for my new Mustang headlights. Last year, I had the same set of headlights as I did in 2014 before I even moved out here. And I ran into Josh Mason and I broke them. So I decided to build a new set. So here's the start already. They're not going to stay chrome. I'll post more about this, but just one of the many things that I do. I used to retrofit headlights, if you didn't know that. And that's how I started a business and then translated it into race car part stuff. But I don't do it anymore. I just do it for myself. I always want to have cool headlights on my stuff. So yeah, getting ready to have some pretty rad headlights. So I am so bad at doing the video stuff that I didn't even record the end of building the headlights. But to complete the video, I'm just making the ending here. So they are done. It's just sitting here, kind of. It's not done, but you know, I got the headlight done. It just needs to be sealed up. Everything else is done. All the wiring is done and works pretty well. And the next section of this is just going to be some short clips of the headlights actually working. But right now I'm going to show you kind of what they look like when they're not on. And obviously there's no lens on this right now, but it will have a lens when the headlight's all done. So right now it's a little dusty because it's just sitting in the office, but you can see actually if I put the camera right here, you can see back in there there's an LED chip. That's what you're seeing reflecting right now, the yellow square. That's a telltale sign of not a very good headlight, but since this is a drift car, I didn't want to use like fancy HIDs and fancy projectors. I just wanted a very simple thing to wire up and that put out some light, because most of the time either the track is lit or you're drifting during the daytime. You don't really need headlights. This is mainly just to have a headlight function. So if you see this, if you ever get a projector and you can actually see the LED in the back like that, if you're buying LED projectors, that means there's no reflector bowl, which means that the light has no direction and it's just going to come out of here as a square. At some point I'll show you what the beams look like because they don't look very good, but these were cheap and they're just, you know, it's 2 wires. So very simple to wire up. It's very low current draw. You don't even need a relay with these. It's like sub 2 amps. So very, very convenient. So you can see I have a turbine shroud around it. That's what that one's called. This one's just, you know, they come chrome and I just strip it. So painted the housing black as well. And then you can see the corner lights. If you can see it at an angle that there's LEDs in there, but once you get like dead on the side, it's very hard to see. But here's what it looks like not on, and I'll make the next video of them on.
I reminisce for a spell, or shall I say think back 22 years ago to keep it on track. The birth of a child on the 8th of October, a toast when my granddaddy came to.
Put your lights on, put your lights on, put your lights on. Put your lights on, put your lights on, put your lights on. Put your lights on, put your lights on, put your lights on. Put your
sunshine beating on the good times, moonlight racing from the grave, string band playing more like honky tonks, pretty young thing going dancing in the rain.
I finished the headlights. I'm gonna make this all one video, so you would have seen them already. Hopefully you enjoy them, little short clips. You'll see them on the car when it's done. But today I'm working on the back end. I've gotten a lot done in the past few days, and now I'm starting to put the wiring together so that it's all ready when the engine goes back in. Right now I'm just doing the chassis wiring. So currently I'm wiring up the taillights, just looked up the wiring diagram, made sure I had all the right wires. Now I'm separating everything out. I decided to hold on to most of the stock harness, but in like piece form, you know, just like the wires themselves. So luckily I have an abundance of wire to do the rest of the car. There's not much to wire up. The fuel pump actually gets powered by the Holly itself. There's a relay in the harness, so I don't need to wire that. I do have a fuel level gauge, but that's actually just going to be in the back of the car for when we're filling it, because it's hard to look down into the tank. And from the many pit crews that I've been on with people with fuel cells, it's a pain in the butt to like stop pouring and it's like 100 degrees outside and you stick your face in this like gas fumey tiny hole and try to see into it. So I really wanted to have a gauge for either myself or anybody who's filling up my car. So that'll be in the back window so that the person filling it can see it. And then also if I pull in and I go, how's the gas, they can just look at the outside and know. Obviously if I had a gauge inside, I could know. And the thing is, I'm guessing, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure the Holly will have an input that I can then connect that sensor to, and then possibly have it both on my dash and in the back of the car. So that'll be pretty cool. I'll show you what I've got done so far. Basically I got the trans all tidied up. There was a few things I had to cut off, like little nubs on the T56. I'm guessing that like my circumstance might differ than anybody else's, or you know, different cases, but with the engine and trans mount combination that I have, the trans is kind of high up in the tunnel and there was some nubs on it that I had to cut off. I got a new throwout bearing on there because I don't want to risk taking it all apart just for a $40 throwout bearing that I have no idea what the history of it was, so I bought a new one. It's got all the AN fittings on it, and it's got the brake lines mounted onto it, or the clutch lines, I'm sorry. And that way, you know, it's very unlikely, and I don't know how I'd solve any of it, but if I ever need to pull it, it's very easy. It's just two AN lines, and they're mounted up high, so they're easy to disconnect in the engine bay instead of trying to reach into the bell housing and disconnect them that way. And then I also have a remote bleeder, so that's why there's two lines. So yeah, right now I'm just doing the wiring. I got the fuel pump wired up, so there's a plug on it now. I have the fuel sender wired up. I got the Switch Pros panel mounted in place, and you know, the rest is just kind of headlights, taillights, and that's pretty much it. So I'm just getting that done while I can, while I have the free time right now, still waiting for the engine. But I'll show you that guy too. See, this is why I don't do this. I'll show that to you guys right now. So here is the trans stuff I was talking about. It's kind of dim, but there's the new throwout bearing with the AN fittings installed already. One of them is the roll pin style. So a lot of people keep the quick disconnect thing and then put the AN fitting into the quick disconnect thing, but I wanted to like eliminate a number of parts and opportunities for failure, so I got the one that directly replaces that quick disconnect fitting, and then you just reinstall the roll pin there. And then this upper one is for the bleeder line. I bought a whole bleeder kit that came with a line actually, but I wanted, you know, I'm crazy anal about this right now, and I wanted both black lines. So now both of these lines are, you know, I just got them zip tied together, but they go up into the engine bay like this. And there's the remote bleeder, and then there's the fitting for the input of the throwout bearing. And they will actually, like the remote bleeder is just on here right now, but they're actually both going to be mounted on this mount that I put on the firewall, so you can see the clutch line going into that bulkhead, and then the clutch will connect at the bulkhead. So if we ever need to pull it, it'll just disconnect from right there. And you can see the three masters and the lines coming to it. I'm going to put one more mount for this right brake line just to keep it from flopping around. And then I need to put one in the tunnel for this rear brake line to keep it away from the transmission, and then one in the tunnel for the brake lines, and then mounting the brake lines will be done. Here is the Switch Bros solid state controller. They tell you a multitude of things, which is why it's back here. First of all, within 2 feet of the battery, that's why they give you this pre-made 2-foot battery cable with a fuse in it. And then they also want it mounted vertically so that in case there's like water or anything, it doesn't stagnate inside the connectors. So that's why it's mounted vertically right there. But I don't mind it sitting right there. I think it's actually like a good location for it. Keep it away from, you know, a lot of people put their stuff on the transom or on the firewall, but it's very prone to heat up there. So I'm glad that this is back here. I'm still going to mount the ECU up front, but I'm going to put some isolators and an air gap in there for you know, a little bit of heat dissipation and to keep it away from the heat. The battery box is all mounted in place. The battery's mounted in there. And then we'll come back here. So I got the taillights just set into the holders right now, and then the wiring set up. I'm right now literally just about to figure out what kind of wiring I need. I have to run all the way up to the brake switch. So that'll be quite a run, quite a long run, but you know, that's the way it goes. And then here is the connector for the fuel level sender. So I try to do it pretty nice. It uses these ring terminals. I hate ring terminals just because like the terminals themselves, like the crimp-on ones, are pretty bad and they're kind of flimsy and weak. But but having them both stuck together like this, and obviously they have like a little bit of a anti-bend with these little tabs here, so that's cool. Just put a little heat shrink on there, and then using a weather pack connector. Obviously it's not actually waterproof because it's open right there, but for the sake of ease, I just bought a bunch of weather pack connectors and we'll use that. So basically one side of the gauge goes to power, the other side of the gauge goes to, or the sender goes to the gauge, and then the gauge is grounded, and then that's how the circuit is completed. And then there's the fuel pump plug. So that'll connect to the harness that the Holly has coming out of it. And yeah, so, you know, I showed it before, but just in case you didn't pay attention or didn't watch the other stuff, there is my brake pressure switch. That's just to turn the lights on. It's not like giving me a reading of what the pressure is. But most people use the one, again, has like ring terminals on the top of it. And I can't stress enough how much I hate ring terminals. So I actually bought this one that has like, it has like a nice grommet on it, and oh, you like my thumbnail. And it's got the wires coming out of it. So I'm just gonna put another weather pack connector on here and then run this to the brake lights themselves. That switch is actually from a Harley Davidson. It's just a regular 8th NPT threaded switch, and this is just a 3AN with 8th NPT, kind of like a union. So yeah, should be pretty easy. Oh man, I hate this selfie style vlog thing. It's just like, how do you guys do this? You just do this zoomy thing? I don't know. My hair looks like I am supposed to be a 90s high schooler, but that's why I don't want to look at myself. But what I do want to look at is these taillights that are all wired up. The other one's on too. Pretty nifty. Very easy to wire lights, obviously. It's just 2 wires, you know. On and ground, power, hot, lead, and then ground. Super simple. That's why I always laugh when people tell me that wiring is hard, because it's on a car it's literally 2 wires for almost everything, and if it's 3 wires it's because there's like a signal or like a switch, or you know, otherwise it's just 12 volts and ground. But hey, you know, I guess it's not for everybody. But here we go. The taillights are wired up. They're just hooked up to the battery right now because I do not have my switch panel. But the only reason I don't have it right now is because it's at CPR with my Holly dash. I just left them stuck together but I'll go get it back probably tomorrow so I can test functionality of stuff. And then I also got I'm just gonna do everything selfie style because you can't. I mean, there's no reason to do this. I can't explain anything. I just do this. This is how this works. Now I can't see what I'm pointing at, but I got the brake switch connector all done. See, I don't. This is a mockumentary of how vloggers do videos, basically. Yeah, so that's all set up. But yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. Oh, I got my fuel pressure gauge. I put a plug on it and then I realized I need a 3-pronger because I need the signal. Not a big deal. Big deal. Well, figure it out. And I also have the fuel pump connector and the fuel sender connector. I don't know if I said that before, but I probably did. So this video is going to be absolutely horrible. Just trying to do more of them. Give me a break. Give me a like. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. If you actually know me, then you know how much I hate this. But doing it for you, just for you, and for my cousin who decided to delete all social media except for YouTube, and he wants to know what I'm doing. So this is for Caleb. All right, that's all I got for today. There's fireworks going on. Perfect timing. Yeah, those aren't gunshots. It's just fireworks. Promise. All right, I will update you more with more wiring fun later on.